Hi students, welcome to the online class. Today we are going to see about class 7 science chapter 7. The name of the lesson is weather, climate and adaptations of animals to climate. Now let's start to see about our first part, that is weather. The weather of a place can be defined as the measure of its daily atmospheric condition, such as humidity, temperature, lightning events, rainfall, storms, snowfall and so on. And these are called as different elements of weather, and simply weather means the atmospheric condition of a place. It may vary on place to place. For example, in my area now it's sunny, but it may be different in your area, and it's not same for whole day, be changed for every hour. Yes, these are some various words we use to mention our atmospheric condition. It's sunny, it's cloudy, partly cloudy, it's hot today, it's warm today, it's cold, it's windy, breezy, rainy. These are some words we use to mention the atmospheric condition, which means the weather of a place. A weather report generally contains the information about the weather of a day and as well as the weather of an area. We can see this every day in the news. In news they will broadcast the weather report, and even we can see in the newspapers also. The newspaper second page or third page, on the top of the paper they will mention it. In these regions they have received this amount of rainfall, or else this is the measure of temperature on the day. This is known as weather report. The government has a special department called meteorological department that predict the weather of a place and prepare the weather report. This is done by the government. For this they have a separate department called meteorological department. The weather report is generally published in newspapers, radio and television. The weather forecast is important for people because many of our day-to-day activities are based on weather conditions. For example, we can check the possibility of rainfall on a particular day and carry an umbrella with us accordingly. So weather report is so important for all of us. We should have a habit of watching the weather reports daily. The weather report of a place always includes the minimum and maximum temperatures of the day, which are measured using a minimum maximum thermometer. The minimum temperature can be experienced in the morning time, while the maximum temperature is experienced in the afternoon. So we use various instruments to measure the elements of weather. In the previously we have seen that to check the temperature we use minimum maximum thermometer. By the same way we use rain gauge. To measure the rainfall of a place, an instrument called rain gauge is used. The rain gauge collects the rainwater of origin and has measuring scale which determines the quantity of rainfall of the place. See, this is an rain gauge. With the help of that only we are saying that in these regions or this area has received this amount of rainfall. Not only this one, we have various instruments to measure the various elements of a weather. For example, now we have seen the rain gauge and minimum maximum thermometer. In the 6th standard we have also studied about the anemometer. This is a device we use to find the wind speed. Anemometer. And we use barometer. Barometer is also a device which we use to measure the air pressure of a place. So like this meteorology department use various instruments to measure the elements of weather. Next we have to know how do changes in weather occur. How does it change? In morning it's so cool, and afternoon it's very hot, and evening again it's partly cool. How do the change occurs? Any change in weather of a place on the earth is because of the sun. which radiates large amounts of heat and light energy on the earth. The formation of winds, the phenomena of rainfall and the change in season all occur because of the sun. So all change in weather are caused by the sun. Why days are shorter in the winter season? We know that earth spins on an axis around the sun. Hence, the amount of sunlight of a place receives varies throughout the year as its position with respect to the sun. With respect to the sun changes because of the rotation of earth. This also leads to change in the seasons of a place. In the summer season, the position of the place is closer to the sun and hence it receives sunlight for longer hours. While in the winter season, the position of a place is farther to the sun and hence it receives sunlight for a shorter hours. This is the reason that the duration of daytime changing in the summer season and winter season. Simply the distance between earth and sun. The place of earth, it rotates an orbit. So based on the distance from the sun to earth, it varies. Next we are going to see about the climate. The climate of a place can be defined as the prevailing weather condition of the place for a long period of time. For example, 25 years. We know that weather means it's atmospheric condition of a place, and weather can be changed on day to day and even every year it will be keep on changing. This weather pattern will be mostly same to whole year. So to predict the climate, we are taking a long duration of time. The weather pattern of a place taken over a long period of time is known as climate. So when we ask a question that what will be a climate in Kodaikanal, generally we will say that it's cool. How we are saying it cool? Because most of the days in a year it will be cool. And as well as if we ask a question to, if you ask question that what will be the climate in Rajasthan or in a desert, it will be hot because the place will be more hot during all the days. So we are considering this weather pattern for a long period of time. Then we can conclude the climate of the place. The climate of a place can affect the living organisms of that area. The animals living in a particular region adapt themselves so that they can survive the weather condition of the place. The features and habits of the animal start to change as per the climate of the place. If it doesn't adapt themselves to the climate, means it cannot survive on the place. So every animal has to adjust themselves to the climate, and this is known as adaptation. So in this lesson we are going to see about some adaptations of two different regions. The animals which live in this region have some special adaptations. That's what we are going to see now. First we are going to see about the polar region. The area of the earth that surrounds the North Pole and South Pole is called polar region. The climate of the polar region is extremely cold throughout the year and receives heavy snow. The sun does not rise for 6 months of the year in the polar region and then it stays up for next 6 months. The temperature in the polar region can be as low as minus 37 degrees Celsius. Most common animals found in this region are polar bears and penguins. Other animals that can be found in the polar areas are fishes, birds, oxen, musk, reindeers, fox, whales and seals. They have adapted themselves so that they can survive easily in this place. Here are some various animals that survive in the polar region, and in this lesson we are going to see about the adaptations of polar bear and penguin. First, once see the clear picture of polar bear and penguin, because based on the appearance we are going to see some adaptations. The white fur of the polar bear makes it easier for them to hide in the snow and therefore save them from predators. In the same way, it makes it easier for them to catch their prey. The polar bears have two layers of thick fur on them so that they can survive extremely cold conditions. The polar bears move slowly and rest a lot so that they do not get overheated because of their thick fur. The polar bears often swim on warm days to keep themselves cool. The paws, which means their legs, the paws of the polar bear are large and wide so that it can swim as well as walk easily in the snow. The polar bear can swim underwater as well because it can keep its nostril closed for a long time. The strong sense of smell of polar bear makes it possible to locate its prey during such harsh. So these are some general adaptations of polar bear. It helps to survive in that region. So you can take a screenshot of this one because we can ask more 1 marks from these adaptations. And as well as this adaptation that we have asked in a long answer also. We have given the content, you can cross check. So please keenly observe the adaptation of polar bear because we are using this in content also. The penguins are also white in color so that they can hide in the snow. They have thick skin with large fat content in their body so that they can survive the cold weather easily. The penguins generally live in a crowd or nest closely so that they can stay warm. The penguins have webbed feet which allow them to swim. Next, these are some animals which can stay there for whole year. But there are some birds which cannot survive in the extreme cold conditions, so they move from that place. They are known as migratory birds. The birds, in order to protect themselves from cold weather of winter in the polar region, often migrate from these areas to warmer places. They then return back after the winter season. For example, the Siberian crane migrates to India in Rajasthan, Haryana and some northeast regions during the winter seasons in Siberia. These birds that migrate to different places during a change in weather are often called migratory birds. They can travel, use instance of 15,000 km to protect themselves from the extremely cold environment, and this is known as migratory birds. To protect themselves, it moves from one place to another place. Such birds migrate to the same place every year. The migratory birds fly very high so that the heat generated by the flight wings can be disposed of in the cold condition. The migratory birds have sense of direction so that they can travel to the same place every time. The migratory birds also use landmarks or follow the direction of the sun and stars to migrate. Some birds also use the magnetic field of the earth and find direction. Apart from fishes, insects and mammals also migrate. Next we are going to say about the second extreme region, that is tropical rainforest. The tropical regions on the earth are the regions which are close to the equator and hence receive more amount of sunlight during the year. In the polar region it doesn't receive sunlight, but in the tropical region it receives more sunlight. So both are two extreme conditions. Because of this, areas have a hot climate. The temperature in the tropical region can be as high as 40 degrees Celsius and can drop until 15 degrees Celsius. The length of the day and night are almost equal in these regions. However, there is a lot of rainfall, and so the tropical rainforests are found in this region. The tropical rainforests are home to a wide variety of vegetation and animals. Due to large habitation, the animals often compete for food in this region. So here it's a place for wide variety of biodiversity. Due to the large number of animals, there will be a competition also high for their food. So here most of the animals have different adaptations to get their food easily and also protect themselves from predators. Many animals have adapted themselves so that they can live on the trees and find their food easily. The skin color of these animals is generally similar to the surroundings so that they can catch their prey easily and protect themselves from predator. Also, many of the animals have a good eyesight and a better sense of hearing. Now let's see some special features of some special animals. The different animals found in the tropical rainforest and their features are: first, the red-eyed frog. It has a sticky feet so that it can climb up on the trees easily. So in other regions we say that frogs live on the water and as well as in the land, but see in the tropical rainforest it can climb on the trees itself. The monkeys, they have a long tail so that they can climb the trees easily. Even their hands and feet have a structure that helps them in holding the branches of the trees easily. Next, toucan bats. It's called toucan. The toucan birds adapt themselves so that they can find food easily. The toucan bird has a large and long beak with which it can reach the food that is found on the weaker branches as well. Lion and tigers, we are all familiar with these animals. They have a thick skin, sharp eyesight and sensitive hearing. The lion-tailed macaque or else the beard ape. The beard ape lives generally on the trees in the tropical forest because it can find its food easily on them, such as insects, seeds, fruits, leaves, flower and stem. The beard ape also has a silver white mane that starts from its head to its cheek. Elephants is most of our favorite. The elephant found in the tropical rainforest also have adapted themselves according to the climate. Its huge trunk gives it a nice sense of smell and helps in picking the food easily. The elephant also eats the bark of the trees. The tusk or large teeth of elephant allow it to clear the bark of the trees. The large ears of the elephant allow it to hear sensitive sounds that make it easier for it to protect itself from predators. The ears also protect the elephant from the hot and humid climate of the rainforest. What we have learned in this lesson, ma'am? See, there's a spelling mistake, V. First, we start with the weather. It's a climate, atmospheric condition of a place is known as weather, and we have seen the different elements like rainfall, snowfall, temperature, humidity. And next, weather forecast. All these elements been measured and informed to the peoples by the government. Further, they have a special department called meteorological department. They only prepare the weather report of a place and publish in the newspaper and TVs. How do changes in weather occur? It all because of the sun. And next, we have seen about the climate. It is a average weather pattern for a long period of time. For example, 25 years, 20 years, 25 years. If the weather pattern is same means, then we conclude the climate of the place. Next, adaptations of animals. We have seen animals have to adapt themselves based on the place where it lives. It is known as adaptation. And we have seen about the two different regions, that is polar region, tropical region, and also the adaptations of animals that live in these regions also we have seen now. Thank you all. We'll see you in the next class.